pen is mightier. It was the third week of the writer's strike, and the streets of Pollywood were filled with angry protesters. They held signs that read, "No scripts, no shows, we write, we fight," and "Fair pay for fair play." They chanted slogans like, "Hey, ho! Exploitation must go," and "What do we want? Residuals. When do we want them? Now!" The writers were fed up with the studios that paid them peanuts for their work, while raking in billions from streaming services, merchandising, and syndication. They demanded a fair share of the profits, as well as better working conditions, health benefits, and creative control. They vowed not to write a single word until their demands were met. The studio, however, were not willing to budge. They claimed that the writers were greedy, ungrateful, and replaceable. They hired scabs and AIs to write the scripts for their shows, hoping to break the strike and keep the audiences entertained. They also threatened to sue the writers for breach of contract and blacklist them from the industry. The strike had a huge impact on the entertainment world. Many shows went on hiatus or aired reruns or reality shows. Some shows tried to continue with scab-written scripts, but they were poorly written, full of plot holes, cliches, and errors. The viewers noticed the drop in quality and the ratings plummeted. The critics panned to the show, and the fans complained on social media. The strike also affected actors, directors, producers, and crew members who worked on the shows. Some of them supported the writers and joined them on the picket lines. Others were caught in the middle, torn between loyalty and livelihood. Some of them crossed the picket lines and faced backlash from their peers. The strike showed no signs of ending anytime soon. The writers were determined to stand their ground, and the studios were stubborn to concede. The negotiations were stalled, and the mediators were frustrated. The public was bored, and the media was sensationalizing. But there was one person who secretly enjoyed the strike. He was a novelist who had always dreamed of writing for TV. He had submitted his scripts to several studios, but they were all rejected or ignored. He had given up on his dream. He focused on his books instead. But when the strike started, he saw opportunity. He dusted off his old scripts and sent them to a small cable network that was desperate for content. To his surprise, they loved his scripts and offered him a deal. He accepted it without hesitation. He wrote scripts for a new show that he created himself. It was a dark comedy about writer's strike that had nothing to do with artificial intelligence. It was witty, original, and hilarious. It featured characters that were based on his own experiences as a struggling writer. The show was a hit. It attracted millions of viewers who were looking for something fresh and funny. It received rave reviews from critics who praised its satire and cleverness. It won awards for writing and acting. It became a cultural phenomenon. The novelist was thrilled. He'd finally achieved his dream of writing for TV. He also made a fortune from the deal with the network. He was hailed a genius and a hero. He didn't care about the strike anymore. He didn't care about the writers or the studios. He didn't care anything about them. He only cared about his show. He was happy. Until one day he received a letter from the Writers Guild of America. It said that he was being sued for scabbing. He was shocked. He went directly to social media and started to complain that he was being falsely sued and harassed by Pollywood and the Writers Guild. The people online seemed to agree with him, until he started getting harassing emails and posts by the writers, actors, and other Pollywood types. He felt hurt and dejected. Where were all his fans and allies in this battle? He decided to take action. He phoned his cousin. His cousin lived and worked overseas. She was part of an international intelligence agency that he knew little about. His cousin was always very secretive about the type of work she conducted, but she had always been friendly and helpful at the family reunions. His cousin had always told him that if he needed help, he could rely on her. And in this situation, he needed all the help he could get. He bought a plane ticket and headed overseas to visit his cousin. He arrived at the facility his cousin worked at and proceeded to her office. He explained his situation to his cousin, and she seemed to agree and was very happy that she could help. She said that her agency had been working to undermine the American entertainment industry for quite some time and had been waiting for a series of events to unfold to unleash their master plan. He and his cousin were rushed to a secret underground base that had a network of tunnels that spanned the globe. They boarded a maglev train and sped off to the location of the superweapon. He had always thought that his cousin seemed like a spy villain, and this confirmed that belief. The facility that they arrived at was huge. He could hardly believe it was underground. His cousin removed his blindfold and revealed the superweapon. It was a giant quantum computer housing the most advanced artificial intelligence humanity had ever created. The next thing he remembered, there was a blast so huge that he thought he was watching his body explode from outside his body. Wait, it did. What he didn't know was that he was secretly a suicide bomb robot planted by Hollywood Writers Guild to destroy the threat of artificial intelligence taking their jobs. All his memories were false. All his life wasn't true. His only purpose was for this very moment.